Italy, I don't understand how Ferrari will it. For years I've been arriving at Italy to test drive the modern V12 magnum opus through the house from the prancing horse. Every time I think, wow, how could a front-engine V12 race car possibly get any better? And then Ferrari goes out and constitutes a better one. Back in 2006, it had been the 599 GTB, which right at that moment I dubbed perhaps the optimum all-around Ferrari ever. Then, last year, I tested the fire-breathing 599 GTO at Italy's Mugello race circuit, and came away practically foaming in the mouth. The GTO was, I wrote, the best fancy car I've ever driven. Last year it turned out the four-passenger GTC4 Lusso, which I called an all-wheel drive Formula One car with way comfier seats. I mean, how can you top a vehicle that can go 208 miles per hour and easily accommodate 4 adults in luxurious, leather-lined splendor? Well, Ferrari just done it. Again. Behold the Ferrari using the silliest, most childish, and absolutely coolest name ever, the 2018 812 Superfast. Officially, the name can be in homage for the 4.9 Superfast with the 1950s, Ferrari getting all gushy and sentimental because it celebrates its 70th anniversary in 2010. But forget everything and just repeat the name again, Superfast. There hasn't been an even more descriptive and honest moniker for the product since Sugar Pops. Replacing the F12, the Superfast is, in simple terms, the quickest, strongest regular production Ferrari available and, no, the LaFerrari was not a regular production car. It matches the LaFerrari's V12 in horsepower, tops it in torque, and obliterates the Awachi stupefying Special Edition F12 TDF. Seat belt fastened, tray table inside the upright and locked position? Good, because here come the numbers, 0 to 60 miles per hour in a mere 2.9 seconds. Top speed, 211 miles per hour when it passes you at full tilt. The Superfast emits a shock wave that cold cocks your cerebellum and does a J-Clamada in your kidneys. All of a sudden you can find yourself looking for the nearest men's room. Though in accordance with the 6.3-liter unit from the F12, the Superfast's naturally aspirated 6.5-liter V12 is 75% new. In addition, for the increased displacement by way of a longer stroke, the Superfast's engine comes with a new crankshaft, new conrods, a different piston design, and a much more robust crankcase. An all-new injection system operates at in excess of 5,000 psi and incorporates smaller injectors to provide smaller fuel droplets, improving combustion. A new cylinder head with revised cam profiles and new inlet and exhaust valve designs raises the flow coefficient by 8% on the F12. As before, the engine sports variable geometry intake tracks, but they've been improved with wider throttle valves plus a larger diameter air inlet, among other refinements. The result is staggering output, 789 horsepower at 8,500 revolutions per minute and 530 pound-feet of torque at 7,000, with 80% from the grunt available by 3,500 revolutions per minute. To clear up any confusion, the 8 inside the car's name means its production of 800 metric horsepower. Remarkably, given its astounding brawn, the Superfast produces far fewer CO2 emissions than its V12 predecessors. The engine breathes out through 6 in-tune exhaust manifolds with exhaust pipes optimized to reinforce the V12's legendary scream. At its 8,900 revolutions per minute redline, the Superfast will make a Navy SEAL dive for cover. Ferrari's F1 7-speed dual-clutch automatic returns, but it's been beefed up for Superfast duty. The gear ratios are actually lowered by about 6% to boost acceleration, while fast responding paddles and improved torque management have reduced shift times by 30%. Rather than the need to blip the left paddle each time a downshift is desired, a multi-down feature allows the motive force simply to hold around the left paddle. The device will automatically execute sequential downshifts to suit your needs. The chassis receives probably the most significant upgrades of the on board are a fresh, second-gen version of Ferrari's virtual short wheelbase aka rear wheel steering, a fifth-gen edition with the maker's side slip control, and Ferrari's first ever using electronic power steering. The EPS system allows digging into unique features, Ferrari Peak Performance FPP and Ferrari Power Oversteer FPO. FPP is intended to boost the driver's ability, by varying steering wheel torque, to sense once the car is approaching its cornering limits, while FPO modulates steering to work when exiting turns under throttle, guiding the motive force into making the correct inputs to counter any oversteer. In practice, both systems are essentially transparent. You don't feel them working per se, rather, you sense, though your fingertips, this is exactly what I should using the wheel. FPO is extremely effective, almost as if you have a ghost driver riding along to help steer the automobile back in line if the tail steps wide. Tires either Michelin's or Pirellis is the same size as around the F12 TDF, 27535ZR20S in the beginning and 315s with the rear. Inside the gorgeous alloy wheels lie Brembo Extreme brakes, the identical binders found within the LaFerrari Ultracar. Ferrari claims stopping performance from 62 miles per hour has improved by 5.8% above the F12. To the Superfast speaks is like saying Tom Brady is really a decent QB. Designed in-house, the Superfast is dripping in beauty and curves and sex appeal. Yet around and beneath that lust-inducing exterior, a myriad of aerodynamic magic is at work. Compared using the F12, drag coefficient is reduced by roughly 34%. Underneath, the Superfast channels air as astutely just as one F1 car, capturing and funneling the flow with near-surgical precision to relieve drag while simultaneously improving downforce. Above 124 miles per hour, passive front flaps using a calibrated elastic spring open to scale back drag. On the rear, electrically operated flaps do a similar. Also improving downforce is undoubtedly an integrated rear spoiler 1.2 inches taller than about the F12 and F12 TDF. The Superfast's cockpit is really a sublime mix of Italian style and astute ergonomics. There is no large central display, its presence being previously dubbed improper for this type of performance-focused machine. Rather, all nav, vehicle, and infotainment facts are delivered by smaller screens around the large analog tech in front from the driver. New seats fit as being a Bryony suit, while a fresh steering wheel design feels great within the hands while placing important controls, for example the Manettino dial for selecting drive modes and quick reach. Contrasting saddle leather trim throughout the instrument cluster looks lovely but, unfortunately, reflects badly into your windshield. As for the Lusso, the passenger can begin to play his or her own system's monitor, the greater to keep a watchful eye on what the trucker is doing with those 789 ponies. Among the available options can be a telemetry system in line with the LaFerraris, plus a premium 12-speaker audio setup. Before lapping Ferrari's private Frano race circuit, I spent a period of time powering the Superfast from the hills and valleys around Maranello for a lot of real-world impressions. My test car was wearing a whole new shade, Rosso Sedantani, a darker, bloodier red paint homage to hues available on vintage Ferraris and offered together with Ferrari's 70th celebrations. First take, Wow, is this a polished piece? I arrange initially in sport mode, anticipating slightly jostling on the broken asphalt situated on so many of Italy's roadways. It didn't come. Instead, the Superfast almost glided on top of the rippled pavement, hovercraft-like, never losing composure or crashing within the rough stuff. I switched into race, however the ride was perfectly acceptable, very firm, yes, but compliant enough. What's particularly magical around the Superfast's ride quality is always that it's served track of phenomenal cornering power and response. It hangs on for the tarmac harder over a toddler being stripped of his popsicle. It doesn't understeer. It doesn't step out for the rear if you do not want it to. It just bites, leans somewhat, and powers through bends fast or slow. Despite being electrically actuated, the steering manages to provide a good tactility with the wheel. Cornering forces build naturally, as well as your fingers feel a good amount of road info. The rear wheel steering really isn't a thing, whatever you notice on the helm is super quick turn-in. The Superfast wastes no motion, lags to user response is generally not very. Everything is today and in this article and hardwired for your brain and hands. Gunning the Superfast through Italy's tight, twisting lanes, the passing vistas peppered with brick farmhouses and dark castles and tiny villages with old men in patio chairs waving from storefronts, I experienced an epiphany. This Ferrari belongs here, I thought to myself. Its beauteous, modern, radiant form a passing star resistant to the time-worn landscape, its searing engine note tuned to soar above the vineyards and sing while using church bells, its very presence an embodiment of the passion and background and art which is Italy. But if your roadways left me in wonderment, Frano left me in utter awe. The Superfast is deceptive because of this. It's so calm and mild-mannered at modest throttle inputs, you may easily neglect the power it wields. Then you stand for the gas on Frano's main straight and it's whatever you can because of hang on. The V12 revs almost maniacally, especially above 7,000 revolutions per minute, the spot that the surge of acceleration assumes on almost otherworldly proportions. Your helmet bangs from the headrest because you click off of the lightning upshifts. That's cream. It's intoxicating, addictive, electrifying. Fantastic. In fact, the Superfast is indeed strident at max revs, using one section with the circuit I was told to lift off, lest the exhaust note disturb the inhabitants of some apartments overlooking the track. Equally as incredible because its ability to make speed may be the Superfast's proficiency at erasing it. At the end in the main straight, I stood for the Brembos and the auto all but stopped trolling around in its tracks. The next lap I braked way later yet still easily slowed without overstepping the turn-in point. 3 quick downshifts, into second gear, then squeeze about the gas again for any long increasingly fast right-hander. Frano isn't a very fast circuit, but it can be a technical one, requiring strict attention towards the racing line, some unusual braking points, and absolute concentration. The wall or perhaps ugly drop-off are now and again only a few feet away. Yet the Superfast chewed within the track just like a honey badger over a termite mound, ferociously, purposefully, just as if utterly not aware of anything else. However, the tarmac straight ahead, there to become eaten. Lapping at speed from the Superfast was completely exhilarating yet involved no theatrics, no scary moments or perhaps any sense that the automobile was being overly taxed. The Superfast made lapping at warp speed anything of ease and poise and grace. There is nothing it doesn't do in order to near perfection and on the nth degree. I've learned my lesson. I'm not going to the 812 Superfast would be the greatest V12 Ferrari of most time though, wink, wink, it will be. As history has proven, something all the more mind-blowing is without question Awachi brewing behind the gates at Maranello HQ. What comes next, though, may incorporate some form of hybrid powertrain. Indeed, the Superfast could prove to get the last of Ferrari's big, naturally aspirated V12 road rockets. Which leads me to finish with this, I cannot possibly make a better path to take. 2018 Ferrari 812 Superfast specifications. Price: $335,275 base. Engine: 6.5 48 valve V1 2789 HP at 8,500 revolutions per minute, 530 lb-ft at 7,000 revolutions per minute. Transmission: 7-speed dual-clutch automatic. Layout: 2-door, 2-passenger, front engine, RWD coupe. EPA mileage: 1417 City Highway, Estate, LXWXH. 183.3 by 77.6 by 50.2 inches, wheelbase. 107.1 inch. Weight: 3,400 pounds. Estate: 060 miles per hour, 2.9 seconds, top speed 211 miles per hour.